Hey everybody, Cherie Warwick here with Black Blockchain Consultants. Thank you so much for coming to this video. And I have a very special guest with me today. Her name is Alexis Gauba, and she runs an organization called She256. They're located at She256.io. So I want to talk to her today because she is helping to disrupt the blockchain space with more diversity. And as you know, all of us know, we're always looking for more diversity in the blockchain space. So welcome, Alexis.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for coming. So before we talk about your organization, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you go to Berkeley, and but you know, how did you even get into blockchain, or what's your background?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm currently studying electrical engineering and computer science at Berkeley. And I got into blockchain space maybe a year and a half ago now. And I originally was interested in security and privacy, actually a little bit more from a policy perspective. But then I started, coming across this term more and more in that kind of sphere, and started to dive a little deeper into it. And at that point, as I started reading more, I grew really fascinated with the technology and pretty much went down the rabbit hole from there. So I started by developing some decentralized applications, doing a couple of hackathons and getting involved in that space. And this was still when, there wasn't much documentation. It was pretty difficult to develop these kinds of applications. And it was very apparent, like the scalability issues when we were developing on top of Ethereum, and all the work that has to be done at the base layer to make it possible for large scale applications to be viable. And so then I started getting interested in trying to solve some of these base layer problems. And so that's when I started doing research on distributed consensus. And so I was able to work with a couple of people at Berkeley on that, and that was super, super interesting. And now we're focusing a little bit more on usability research. And so that's been, I've been fascinated by this technology and really looking to contribute from that aspect. But simultaneously, being in the space and going to different events and things, it quickly became apparent, the disparity in initially just the gender disparity. Like I would go to blockchain events and it was worse than in my CS classes. And I was like, okay, that's crazy. We clearly need to do something about that. And so that's kind of where She256 came in. And we were initially focusing on women in blockchain, but we've expanded to be focusing on diversity in blockchain because, as part of our thesis, we fundamentally believe that if these blockchain applications are to disrupt, our existing financial and governance structures, it's really important that the people building these applications are representative of the global diverse population that they are to serve. And there are so many people right now who are not represented, in the people building these applications or in this community or making these decisions.
Yeah, so I think that there are a lot of applications that we've seen. For example, in Africa, there are, different payment methods, and there's I think a village in Kenya that's using a blockchain, a crypto specifically. But a lot of it does not include us in terms of the design and the engineering work that's going beyond into the application. So I absolutely agree with you, and we do need to work on that. But I think that there are some major steps that are happening as well, and you can let me know if you agree. So, for example, Consensus has just partnered with Black Girls Code. We're seeing a lot of women in diversity within blockchain groups that are forming now and are, taking the world by storm, the blockchain world by storm. So I think that people are starting to recognize it over the last year or so.
No, I totally agree. I think one of my favorite things about this space is how open they are, how open everyone is to new ideas, and how everyone's willing to push boundaries and make progress. And there are, like as you mentioned, some really amazing initiatives and some great work being done in this direction.
Yeah, but of course, there's always more work to do. So I know in our organization, our goal is to introduce 1 million Black people to blockchain, and just throughout different types of work, because it's not just development work for us. We also focus on, sales and user experience and project management and things like that. For your organization, for She256, what are some of the things that, do you have like a big goal, first of all, in terms of the number of people you want to attract or something like that you're aiming for? And then just tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're doing within your organization to achieve those goals.
For sure. So I guess this is where it would be helpful to talk a little bit more about how She256 got started and where we are now. Mm-hmm. So initially it was just a conference that we held, and this was in April of 2018. And we wanted, basically, after realizing that, there are so many amazing women in the space who are already putting out groundbreaking research and innovation. But when we go to conferences or events, for some reason, they just don't seem to be there. We wanted to create a conference that highlighted all of this amazing work. And so that's what the first conference was. And it was amazing. The talks were incredible. And there was so much good reception from the community. And that was really, really heartening. And so it was at that point that we decided that we wanted to go from just a conference to becoming a fully fledged nonprofit and doing more. And so that's when we launched our global mentorship program, which was this fall. And so there are around 500 participants, 250 mentors, and 250 mentees. And the goal for that initiative was to basically pair up individuals who were new to the blockchain space with individuals who were very experienced, and specifically to give females who are new to the space the opportunity to really learn from someone who is more experienced. I think a lot of us have experienced this ourselves, but it's definitely an intimidating space to enter, and having someone who's working in the specific profession area that you're interested in be able to help you and guide you along that way can be really, really helpful. And so that was the goal with the mentorship program, and it's been going well so far. This is definitely a pilot, and so we are very actively learning from what's going on right now and hope to keep improving on it and iterating on it and making it better. But everyone who's participating is so absolutely amazing and talented, and I'm so glad that people are finding this to be a useful resource. And so that's what we were working on last year, and now going into this year, we have two key goals. One is to basically increase awareness within the blockchain space itself. So that includes, any kind of blockchain project, thinking about this from day one, it not being an afterthought or anything like that. So in the hiring process, making sure that you're giving opportunities to people who come from all walks of life, or even, in the way that you're building your products, thinking about all of the different people that will end up using your products and how to build, for a diverse audience. And so that's one of our core goals. And then the other core goal is to introduce people who haven't even heard about blockchain before to the space, and introduce people from all walks of life, and then give them the resources to get educated and start contributing. So a couple of our key initiatives for this year are, we're doing a pilot program of development boot camps for underrepresented high school students. And we're starting this out with students in the Berkeley and Oakland area. And then we hope to scale up after the pilot. We are hosting a UI UX focused design hackathon that will happen in March. We're going to have our annual conference again towards the end of April. We're going to be releasing a newsletter profiling some of the amazing work that innovators from all walks of life are working on in the blockchain space. So that's going to be coming out pretty soon, and we're really excited for that. And that's kind of just the tip of the iceberg. That's what we're focusing on from now until April, but we're always looking to collaborate with people on more events and provide more resources. And we're really excited about, all that we can do here.
Great. Well, you have a lot going on. So I want to go back to the mentor program for a second. Is it possible that people who are just younger in the industry, but let's say older at heart, these versus, just young people that are in college, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's really anyone who's new to the space. So we have people who are participating all the way from high schoolers to people who are mid-career looking to make a career switch. So it's definitely all across the board. And the goal is really for the mentor and mentee to learn from each other. Both people bring such diverse perspectives, and the mentor is really experienced in the blockchain space. So that's an awesome opportunity for the mentee to get into this space and learn more. But it's definitely a symbiotic relationship.
And when are you opening up that again? opening that up again.
Yeah, for sure. So that's going to happen sometime towards the middle or end of this year. Right now, we have an interest form up on she256.io/mentorship. And if you sign up on the interest form, we'll basically keep you updated on what the timeline looks like and how you can get involved as soon as signups open.
Okay. So yeah, so if anyone's interested in that, it's she256.io/mentorship, you said?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. And then for 2019, you mentioned a lot of things that you are working on. So first of all, I love it all. Tell us a little bit about the hackathon, the UI/UX hackathon. Do you have a date yet for March, or how can people find out more?
Yeah, for sure. So this hackathon is also targeted towards high school students. Ideally, it's a lot of the students who end up going through the boot camp who are then able to apply their skills, or even students who just haven't heard of this before and aren't aware can learn more. There will be a lot of introductory workshops. So this will be March 9th and 10th, and this will be held in San Jose, California. And this is definitely, the first time we've done anything like this. So it's also very much like a pilot. And so students will be presented with a design challenge, and then they'll form teams and they'll get to execute on that. And there will be, designers from a lot of blockchain projects there to help mentor and guide and give workshops. So you can come in with zero knowledge and then come out having, worked on solving a design problem with a group of peers.
Yeah, so we have a group of people that are definitely into design. So they're all over the country though, but that's a huge issue within blockchain. And I'm glad to know that you are working with people to help solve that.
It's definitely something, yeah.
Yeah, that's really the bridge to making it mainstream. A huge part of it, I would say. Not everything, but so,
yeah.
And then your conference in April. Tell us, if you have your date set for that, where it's going to be, what the theme is, and how do we get tickets to that if we're interested?
For sure. So the dates are still being finalized, but we'll have them final pretty soon, and it'll be up on our website. And it'll be the end of April in the Berkeley or San Francisco area. And basically what it's going to look like this year is, last year it was more research focused and technical talks with a couple of different panels hearing from women in academia and women in industry. This year there's going to be a more diverse set of talks. So you'll be hearing about the legal aspects of the blockchain space. There will be design workshops. So we're also going to have an educational workshop track where we'll have some introductory workshops and then some more advanced workshops. And then on the talks, we'll have, the legal panel. We'll be looking at trends. We'll still have research talks and technical talks. We'll also be having a couple of design-related talks, social impact, something on open source. So we definitely are going to be diversifying the content, and we're curating a really amazing speaker lineup. So I'm really excited. I think it'll be really informative and really educational, and a great opportunity for a lot of people to just learn from each other.
Right. How many people are you expecting?
We are hoping to be able to accommodate around 300 people.
Okay. All right. So that's a nice sized conference.
Yeah.
So in terms of your nonprofit, and a lot of times nonprofits need help with either board members or donations or volunteers. Talk to us about that in regards to if people want to get involved.
For sure. There are definitely a lot of ways to get involved, and we're working on opening up even more ways to get involved. So right now, a couple of things is that we are still looking for sponsors for both the hackathon and the conference. So if you're interested in sponsoring, you can email us at she256@blockchain.berkeley.edu. If you'd like to donate to the organization, you can go to our website, she256.io, and there'll be a donation link there. If you'd like to get involved in mentorship as either a mentor or a mentee, it's again on our website, she256.io/mentorship. And then if you're interested in volunteering for the conference, you can go ahead and email us at the link I had mentioned earlier. And in terms of volunteering with some of our other initiatives, we're working on putting together different ways for people to get involved. So after we run a couple more events and do a couple more iterations of the boot camps, we'd love to get people certified to run these events in their own communities. but we definitely want to make sure that we figure out, first, like how these events flow and can plug up any different holes. So definitely watch this space. You can sign up for our newsletter, and we'll be pushing out more and more information.
Absolutely. So that sounds good. So we'll definitely get on your mailing list to make sure that we can keep up with you and what's happening in the organization. So let's go back to blockchain just for a final question. And blockchain has, of course, it's 10 years old, or Bitcoin is 10 years old. Now I think it's going to be 11 years old this year. We see that there's starting to be some momentum. What do you think is going to be kind of the tipping point for this to become mainstream?
This is definitely a good question. And I think there are a lot of different factors. I think, first of all, it really is a really nascent technology. And so we are still experimenting and trying to build up the necessary infrastructure to allow for large scale applications. So if we look at the infrastructure layer, a lot of these platforms still can't support, the transactions per second, or, that we need to make these kinds of applications possible. So that's one big thing, like figuring out the infrastructure. And there are also like other core infrastructure primitives. So if we look at, the emergence of stable coins and the decentralized finance applications that's been able to enable. And now we're starting to see different interfaces built on top of these decentralized finance protocols. So it's definitely a process of building up from layer one. So infrastructure for sure. And then after that, the usability becomes really important. So how do we make these applications intuitive for people to use? When people think about blockchain, it's often very confusing to them. So how can we create design patterns that remove that confusion and educate people simultaneously? So I definitely think it's going to be an evolution, and a lot of these technologies are developing concurrently. And we're still very, very early, which is why we need a lot more people to get involved and contribute their ideas and their voices and help build all of this up.
Yeah, we are very early, and I also think how many decades it took for the internet to become mainstream. So, the government was using the internet in secret labs for decades before AOL was thought of back in the day.
Yeah.
So it's just very interesting to see that the whole progress, but also seeing applications in terms of, for example, Walmart requiring their leafy green produce vendors to be on a blockchain by September of this year. Or, once that happens, then, you may see Publix and Kroger's and Safeway and all of these other grocers require the same thing. So it's very interesting to see the evolution of the industry, and trying to get more of us involved as what you're doing with She256.
Yep.
Yeah. Any final words for the family in regards to your organization or anything else you're doing or want us to be aware of?
I mean, I definitely think, if you're listening and if you're new to blockchain or new to the space and not really sure where to get started, definitely start reading everything you can get your hands on, reach out to people, come to events, get involved. The space is looking for contributors from all walks of life. No matter what your background is, whether you're, in technology or business or law or anything really, it's a really interdisciplinary space and can use a lot of new thought, new ideas, is super open. So definitely don't be afraid to get involved and reach out.
I couldn't agree more. So, well, thank you so much. Again, we will check out your website and all the things that you're doing. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Take care.
Yeah, you too.